Hey everyone, this is Chef. Welcome back to Uma. This is day 3 of our slow play through Umamusume. There's a couple things that we need to take care of today before we get to our first run, so I'm going to go ahead and knock those out now. First thing is that today is Monday, January 5th. There's been a team trials reset. We've been promoted from level 1 to level 2. It's going to give us a handful of carrots, some friendship points, and also it's going to unlock our second row of team trials runners. In the last video, we pulled for trainees because we didn't actually have enough unique trainees to fill that roster out. But now that we've pulled, we have an excellent selection of runners to pick from, and over the next probably week or two, we're going to be working through different team trials runs for each of these so that we can fill that roster out further. The other thing that I did while I was off screen is I played through all of the stories. These are sources of free carrots for you if you go and play through them. In this case, I just skipped them. But I also played through the main story and the extras, which you get additional carrots from. And there's actually something in the main stories that I want to show you that's related to race mechanics. So when we've been in career races, I've talked about how the game mechanically forces you to slow down if you get too far ahead in early race. And these career races are actually an excellent example to show you exactly how that works. What this is a mode in the race called pace down. And what pace down looks at is how well your runner is doing relative to the runner who is in first. And over the first half of the race or so, if your runner realizes that they're too far up for the position that they're supposed to be in, they slow down and they get forced back. So in this race, we have an A rank Taiki shuttle racing against 4 F rank trainees. There is no question that our Taiki shuttle is going to be able to win this race, despite the fact that she is long E. But because of how good she is relative to every other runner in this race, it's going to be a really neat demonstration of how pace down works. So I'm going to show you mechanically what that looks like, so that in your races you can see this happening. So when we start, Taiki is going to be faster than anybody else, and she's going to bolt out of the gate. There is no position keep here, there is no pace down. But as soon as she gets into early race, right about here, you're going to see her drop off behind this front runner. And that's the first enforcement of pace down. Now from this point, she's going to try and get closer, but until about halfway through the race, mechanically she is not able to overtake for first, unless a skill triggers. In which case, position down or pace down is ignored for the duration of that effect. Here, skill expired, she's going to get pushed back again. She's going, I'm a pace chaser, I need to be behind, I'm supposed to be here. Okay, now I'm with pace chasers, I can start running normally again. And she's going to keep doing that until we get a little over halfway through the race, at which point the pace down restriction is removed and she can run as fast as she truly is able to run. So we're going to watch until that happens, and then you're going to see her just take off as soon as that restriction is gone. This is still position keep, but in this case, both of the runners are close enough to first that they're probably both experiencing pace down right now. The first place runner is really not going that fast. And right about here is when position keep goes away. So within a few seconds, we should see Taiki just take off down this course. Any second here, Taiki. There she goes. So there's no more pace down. There's no more position keep. We're into the second half of the race. She can now run her true speed, although there is still a max speed that she is allowed to go. And as soon as we cross into late race, which is this third line, even that restriction is removed. Now every single runner is running at top speed, and because we have an A rank runner that has close to 1200 speed, and everybody behind us has maybe 150 to 200 tops, charitably, she can just drive off into the sunset. The race mechanics in Uma are even more complicated than that, but I think that's a decent basic summary of something that we've talked about in the first 2 videos in terms of, why do we see a runner leap out of the gate and then slow down dramatically even though they have the opportunity to be in first? It's because of these position keep and pace down mechanics. So hopefully you find that useful. And then the last thing that we look at before we get into our careers for the day is we're going to pop over into Scout because new banners came out today. We have the Christmas Oguri and Christmas Biwa Hayahide banner. I'm going to pull on these once just because I have the ticket. I think if we get Christmas Oguri, that's really funny, but I don't have any expectations for it. In terms of whether you specifically should pull on Christmas Oguri, no trainee is more important than support cards. So if you have good support cards, you've been playing for a while, you're reasonably comfortable with the strength of your deck, Christmas Oguri is quite good. She's a stronger trainee as far as trainees are concerned. But there is no trainee that is as powerful as something like extra copies of Kitasan Black or other support cards. And then the other new banner that we have is our support card banner with Mayano and Arita Taishin. So we're going to take a look at both of those and see if those might be worth pulling on if you're currently sitting on 30,000 carats. In Mayano's case, when we go to max level and uncap, we can see that she does have 80 specialty priority, which is an extremely high number. She's not getting extra from her unique perk. Her unique perk is just power bonus and friendship, but she has a ton of specialty priority. She has a decent amount of training effectiveness, 5% is better than nothing, and then she has good friendship bonus and mood effect. This is a really nice SSR speed card. It's not as good as Kitasan, but it is very, very good. The problem is, if we turn max level and uncap off, like Kitasan, she doesn't actually unlock her specialty priority until level 45. So you need at least 3 duplicates of this card, much like you do with Kitasan, in order for her to actually be usable. And in the event that you don't, she has 0 specialty priority, which makes her staggeringly bad. So whether you pull on this really depends both on how lucky you get and how likely you think you are to hit pity. On the other hand, we have Narita Taishin, Wit card. Specialty priority from her unique perk is nice. If we go to max level and uncap, she does have a good friendship bonus. This is going to increase your wit from friendship trainings. She has a good training effectiveness, 10% is better than 5. She does not have any specialty priority. Now for a wit card, this isn't necessarily that bad, because you don't always want to be consistently training wit turn after turn after turn. And when you have a card that has low specialty priority, ideally you would be looking for something like a training effectiveness bump or a mood effectiveness bump. And she has at least one of those, which is nice. But in this case, I don't think this is a phenomenal wit card. Double check tier lists because it's entirely possible that I could be wrong. I'm not looking up this stuff ahead of time. I'm just walking you through how I'm looking at a card and evaluating it before I go read other things to think about whether there's something that I missed. The other thing you might want to consider when you're evaluating cards like this is looking at their guaranteed events. So skills are the things you get from random hints. Career events are the guaranteed skills that you get as long as that event fires. In this case, Taishin gives you Sleeping Lion, which is a really good recovery skill for end closers specifically. She gives you some decent medium and long recovery skills, and then she also gives you Pressure. It's fine. It's not amazing. End closers aren't particularly common, and Taishin is one of the people who is an end closer in the first place, and she gives you Sleeping Lion through her potential. The other end closer that you're likely to have right at the start is Gold Ship, and the problem with Gold Ship in terms of getting Sleeping Lion is that Gold Ship gets her own gold recovery skill that is good as long as there's a downhill. So Gold Ship also doesn't really need Sleeping Lion because she has a recovery skill on board. And then as far as Mayano is concerned, you have decent hints for things like Nimble Navigator and Corner Adept just off of base hints. You have Restless as your gold for event hints, which is a good recovery skill for frontrunners specifically. You have Head On, which is an excellent skill for pace chasers. There is not a lot of pace chaser acceleration out there, so being able to get Head On is very good. And then you also have Straightaway Adept, which is fine. It's not amazing, but it's consistent velocity. Point being, if you have 30,000 carats right now and you don't have plans for them later, Mayano is a really good support card. I would definitely pull on that. I wanted to start playing early, so I pulled on the previous banner, even though it was objectively worse, but this one is quite good if you have the carats for it. And also we have a random ticket, so we'll fire off one scout on this as well. Why not? Rare card. No problem. We had no expectations coming in. We have no expectations going out. So let's get down to work for the day then. As always, before you click the career button, you should have a goal in mind. And in this case, our goal is team trials. We need to flesh out this roster in order to keep developing our Team Trials team further. So we've got Taiki as a good dirt ace. We've got Bakshin as a good ace for sprint. Mile, medium, and long take some work. And if you look at both of these trainees we've had so far, we've used the same deck. We've used 2 power, 1 wit, 3 speed. That, for Taiki, has generated 377 stamina, which is low for dirt. That's actually a big problem for dirt, but we'll fix that later. And then for Bakshin, it's given us 377 as well. Those are exactly the same. It's actually way more consistent than I would have expected. The point is that for Mile, you actually want to be somewhere around 650, which means that when we go to build a deck for a Mile runner, like Vodka in this case, or somebody else, we're going to need more stamina than our current deck produces. And we have 2 options to address that. Option 1 is we can take a trainee who actually has higher stamina growth rates. So Taiki has 20 speed, 10 wit, 0 stam. Bakshin is exactly the same, 20 speed, 10 wit, 0 stam. It's possible, if we can find a Mile runner in our list of trainees that has 20% speed growth, that they might actually be okay with that 2 power, 1 wit, 3 speed deck. And that's going to be the first thing that I try. So we've got Matikane, Mile C, not really what we're looking for. We could fix that, but we don't need to. Let's just look for a true Mile runner. Gold Ship, also Mile C. Vodka, Mile A, but no stam growth. Daiwa, Mile A, no stam growth. Grass Wonder, Mile A, no stam growth. Mayano can't do miles. Freak can't do miles. Vegiro can kinda do miles, but not really. And Agnes can't do miles. So we don't have the right runner to put this together, which means we're going to have to go with option 2. And option 2 is just making a new deck. We're also going to play Unity Cup, because we've done URA Finale twice, it's time to fold in some extra complexity, and we want slightly higher stat totals overall. So let's figure out who we want to run in miles. Show me people who have mile distance aptitude. Our options are Taiki, who we're using already, and then Vodka, Scarlet, Grass Wonder. Vodka's already our mile runner, so I'm kind of tempted to just try and make a better Vodka. Not having the stamina growth is unfortunate, but speed power is going to help us cover the difference that we're going to lose by potentially losing a power card. So let's try that, see how that goes. In terms of legacies, we're never going to need dirt. She's 100 miles off from running sprints and longs. We really want to stick to mile and medium sparks here, and if we can, a mile spark would be better, because getting that to upgrade would be pretty nice. In this case, Vodka is the only person we have with a mile spark, but we can also check origin legacies, which opens up extra options, because some of these runners have mile sparks further down in their tree. So here, stam power guts I don't really want. Wit stam power sounds closer to what I'd really be looking for, but Vodka is in her own inheritance chain, which is not ideal. We may not be able to afford that at this point in the game, because we have so few legacies. In fact, it looks like Vodka's in most of these. Yeah, she's in all of these. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll just take the ones that look good. We'll take our okay Daiwa Scarlet, because we might get preferred position out of it. And then we'll also just take another Mile Spark. How about from here? So can't use any of our guest legacies, or we can't use any of our onboard legacies for this. I'm still not going to bother using guest legacies. We'll get to that later. I'm just going to slowly fold these mechanics in as we come to them so that people don't get overwhelmed all at once. There is a lot of mechanics in Uma. We don't have to present all of them up front. And then let's talk about deck. So we actually have an issue here that I forgot about until I got to the deck panel. We can't use Vodka's speed card if we're training Vodka. And we don't really have another great speed card right now. We have Asian Flash, which is okay. We can unlock the specialty priority if we spend on her. We have Narita Taishin, who's okay. We have King Halo, who's okay. And if you're in one of these situations where you're trying to choose between multiple speed cards, there's actually a very useful compare tool that we have an opportunity to show off for putting this deck together. So I'm going to get that set up, and I will be right back. All right, welcome back. We are here on Gametora with Gametora's compare tool in order to figure out what our correct speed card loadout should be here. Obviously, for our friend borrow, we're going to be using Kita-san, so we can lock that in immediately, but I can show off the rest of the comparisons here. Vodka has been our max limit break speed card so far because she has good friendship bonus, good mood effect, good specialty priority. But we can't use Vodka for this trainee because this trainee is Vodka. So we need to find another option among the cards that we have. We have Biko Pegasus here as our good SSR. I've listed Kita-san here just for the sake of comparison, so that we can show off why Kita-san isn't a great card at LB0. And then we also have our other 3 support cards right now for speed. We have Asian Flash with no limit break, Narita Taishin with 1, King Halo with 1. And you can just select the limit breaks here. So there's really 3 or 4 main things that you're looking for when you're trying to figure out what card you should run for any slot for any stat. Specialty priority, friendship bonus, mood effect, training effectiveness. Specialty priority is how often they actually participate in their preferred training type. For speed cards, this is how often they actually go to speed. Friendship bonus is how many extra stats you get out of friendship training or rainbow training. Mood effect is how many stats you get based on what your mood is, with more stats at higher mood. And training effectiveness is just extra stats that you get when the card is there. So if we need to choose between Asian Flash, Narita Taishin, and King Halo gets the edge on specialty priority. This is going to be a more consistent card. Her friendship bonus and mood effect at 1 limit break are relatively low, however, and while she has some training effectiveness, it's not as good as other options. We look at Narita Taishin, we have good mood effect, we have good friendship bonus, we have okay specialty priority, but we get a little bit of extra training bonus out of that. And then if we look at Asian Flash, we have okay friendship bonus, okay specialty priority, a ton of mood effect, and then no training effectiveness at all. All 3 of these cards are actually fairly close, and there would be reasons that you could pick any of these 3 depending on what your goals are for a run. Because I want to emphasize consistency, I want my cards to show up on the trainings that I want them to show up at, I'm going to be taking King Halo instead of Vodka. But there's reasons that you could make any of those choices. Also, we should level this card up. We'll go do that before we start the run. Now, what are we doing with everything up here? We know that this deck is not enough stamina to get through a mile. So we have one of 2 things that we can do. We can either drop the speed cards, or drop the strength cards, at least one of them, or we can drop Fine Motion as the wit card for a stamina card. So let's reset our choices in Gametora and take a look at those options. Alright, we're back with our stamina options. Let's take a look at what we've got. We have the SSR McQueen, which I got out of doing the first main story, so that is now an option that we can consider. And then we also have a 1 limit break Mayano, we have Manhattan Cafe, we have Toast and Jordan. We're using the same heuristic here. What does the specialty priority look like? What does the friendship bonus look like? What does the mood effect look like? And what does the training effectiveness look like? Here, I'm looking at either Manhattan Cafe or potentially Mayano Top Gun, although there is a quality about Mayano that I don't like that we can get to in a second. Cafe has the highest specialty priority. She's at 55. She has okay friendship bonus. It's not amazing, but she does have pretty good mood effect, and then she's got this nice 5% training effectiveness. Mayano has slightly worse specialty priority, but she has a ton of friendship bonus, which means that when she hits rainbow stamina trainings, we are going to get a lot of stats out of them. However, she does have lower mood effect, and her training effectiveness isn't actually that much better than Cafe's, which means that she's not going to be a very good card when she's not on stamina, and when she doesn't have a rainbow. So in this case, again, I'm just going to default with the more consistent option. I'm going to default to using Cafe. I would prefer the specialty priority, and while her rainbows aren't as good, I would rather her be giving me better stats just for being at high mood for whatever training she might happen to show up at, including stamina. And then in terms of what do we want to replace for that, you could really go either way on this. There's not a great way to figure this out. I enjoy running a wit card when I can, just because the energy recovery really helps with your overall management of your resources. In this case, though, I'm going to try and drop Fine Motion and run Manhattan Cafe instead. And I'm just going to see how that goes. We may actually run a second run after this, depending on what kind of time we make, where we replace either of our power cards with the stamina card, and then we keep Find Motion in. It could be better. It could be worse. I honestly don't have a principled way to tell you right now, and sometimes it just depends on running the deck and seeing what you like. So let's go ahead and get our Halo leveled up, because we know we're going to use it. We'll take you all the way to 30. And then let's go ahead and jump in. So Unity Cup is going to use slightly different mechanics than URA Finale does. You still have Rainbow Friendships, and building friendship is still important, but Unity Cup also introduces the mechanic of Spirit Trainings, which start on your 3rd turn. So we're going to play these first 2 turns like normal. We're going to pretend it's exactly the same as URA Finale. We've got 2 plus a hint on stamina. We have 1 plus a hint on power. We have nothing else that really looks great, so we take stamina. It's actually a decent hint right out the gate for a mile runner. And then we've got 2 plus a hint on power. Nothing really anywhere else. We take power. On your 3rd turn, you have Spirit Training kick in. In Unity Cup, all of the support cards in your deck are also members of your team. And over the course of the scenario, you get additional runners added to your team. Whereas in URA Finale, you're upgrading your trainings, your speed, stam, power, guts, and wit, by training at them consistently, with 5 turns increasing the level. In Unity Cup, the level ups of your facilities are controlled by the stats that your team has, with higher stats increasing the level of each of these facilities. And the way that you upgrade your facilities and build your team stats is by aiming for Spirit Trainings. So not only are you chasing friendships when you're doing Unity Cup, you are also training Spirit Trainings, and in a lot of cases you're prioritizing Spirit Trainings over friendships. If that sounds confusing, again, we'll walk you through decision points step by step here. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at 1 wit that builds support and has a Spirit Training, 1 speed that builds support and has a Spirit Training, and then I'm looking at 2 on stam that still has a Spirit Training. That looks great for stamina. We're accomplishing all of our goals at the same time. We have 4 more members on our team, so that's 4 more potential opportunities to do Spirit Training. Here we have 1 on speed with none of our actual supports. We have 1 on power with none of our actual supports. And then everybody shows up on guts. So this is 4 of our own support cards, which means we're benefiting from their mood effects. And then we're also building off of, and training effectiveness for what it's worth, and we're building off of Taiki. Now, because Taiki's not actually in our deck, her effects on her support card do not matter. So if Taiki has training effectiveness or mood effectiveness or anything like that on her support card, it doesn't matter here. We can't build Taiki's friendship. We can't get rainbow trainings off of Taiki. She is only here to be a runner on our team and to help us build our stats overall. So this is a great training. Despite the fact it's 7% to fail, we would always gamble on that. And then as we take those spirit trainings, we're leveling up our team stats. When you level up your stats enough, your team rank goes up. And when your team rank goes up enough, you level up your facilities themselves. We'll take a beautiful chunk of energy back off of that training. We'll wait for the game to finish downloading whatever it's downloading. Uma, are you okay? Tell you what, I'll stick you on pause until it figures out what it's doing. Alright, I can't tell you why it got mad, but we're back. We closed, we reopened. Maybe it's everybody pulling for Christmas Oguri, but we're back in shape. So let's continue. Business as normal. We have 1 support, 1 spirit training, 2 spirit trainings, 3 supports, 1 spirit training, no supports, 1 spirit training, 2 supports, and then 1 spirit training, no supports. Stamina looks like it's going to be the best for us here. The first thing we're looking at is counting our spirit trainings. So we've got 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. We would want to take the one with the most spirit trainings anyway, but then friendship would be a tiebreaker, and in this case, we're building a lot of friendship at the same time. Let's keep jumping on stamina. We know that stamina is going to be a little bit of a weakness with this deck, given that we're only running one pure stamina card, so I actually don't mind building stamina early. It may not show up later. But we are into a bit of energy problems now, because we've had a lot of good trainings. We haven't really had the opportunity to just rest on wit. This is okay as a wit turn. We have 1 spirit training and 2 friendships. It's actually the best spirit training that we had, and then if we wanted to build friendship, guts would be slightly better, but I don't mind recovering energy with wit here. It's not going to be enough to push us back over the threshold for making trainings not risky, but it is a good wit training that keeps our spirit training going and also continues to build friendship and support. We could luck out and get more energy here. We didn't get more energy here. That's fine. We have 1+1. 2+4 is nice. Even if it's on guts, that's really nice, but 17% feels very risky. I would rather not take that risk as much as I like that training. Because if we see a better training next turn, there's no shot that we can take it. We're pretty low on energy, so a rest would be okay, but I could actually recreate here as well and hope that I get one of the recreations that gives energy back. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright, so that fixes our mood. It also lets us take at least one more training risk-free. Here we're picking between skill points and passing pro. I don't feel like I need the skill points right now. It's pretty early in the run. I'm happy to just take 10 power. It's also worth noting that Rice Shower is not in our deck, which means we're extremely unlikely to actually continue the support card's event chain. But I would rather just take the raw stats, because I know that we don't have a ton of skills we necessarily need to buy right now. Got 1 and 1, 1 and 1, 0 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 1. So numerically, Guts is the best training here, but I'm actually fine rolling this on Wit, because the Wit isn't much worse than anything else, and it continues to preserve our energy. We're going to take a slightly worse training, just by virtue of the fact that it's Wit. It helps us preserve for later when we see above average turns. That's a beautiful energy recovery off of that. Now we've got a 1 and 2. We have a 1 and 1. We have a 1 and 1. This is just, Wit is the best training. We don't even have to worry about compromising for it. Wit is just going to give us the most friendship increases and unity trainings there. Or spirit trainings. I'm going to be calling spirit trainings and unity trainings and white bubbles a lot of different things. So I apologize in advance. We know from last run that Daitaku is all kinds of frontrunner hints. Vodka's not a frontrunner, she's a late surger. I think we're fine to take the energy and to take the speed out of this event chain and then just end it. It frees up more room for other events to fire instead of the rest of that chain. This is a 1 spirit, 3 friendship wit. This is a 1 friendship, 1 spirit guts. That's a wit training all day. We're all the way back up to full energy, which we feel very good about. And then for our last training before our debut, we've got a 1 and 3, a 1 and 1, a 1 and 2, kind of. I think this is just a power training. So I think we trained speed like 1 time, which I don't feel great about. But Unity Cup introduces more things that you have to chase after. We really want to prioritize these spirit trainings early, because the earlier we level our facilities up, the more stats we get later on in the run. Let's take a look at skills for our debut race. We should have a ton of mile hints sitting in here, but we're not towards the front mid-race. We're still not towards the front mid-race. We're not a pace chaser. We could take trick rear. It slightly increases fatigue, which really doesn't give us a huge advantage, though. I think we might just pass on all of these. I think we're fine to just run a normal debut with no skills. So Vodka's options are late surger. She's okay at pace, but she does have a fairly finicky unique skill, where you have to be positioned very specifically in order to actually get this to fire. It says when positioned towards the front, but the reality is that you have to be in, I think, specifically 3rd or 4th, and there also have to be other runners near you, so it's just most consistent to run her as a late surger in general. We'll watch the debut, and then we will skip races after this, just to get a feel for how training has gone so far. So like we talked about at the start of the video, this is going to be position keep. There might be some pace down if Vodka gets too far ahead. We're in the front of the pack of late surgers, which is great news. That really minimizes the odds that we're going to get blocked. Rushed is okay. We should have enough stamina to tank potentially getting rushed. Getting a little too close to the pace chasers and front runners here. We may actually end up getting a pace down here if we're not careful, but we're over halfway through the race. I think we're past the point where it can kick in. And I think she may actually just go running off into the distance now. You know what? Maybe our speed is fine, and the fact that we almost never trained it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, off she goes. There's no shot we see a unique skill activation here, but that's okay. Like I said, we've rolled really good training so far. We have a lot of stats for what we're working with because our support cards and our spirit trainings, our unity trainings, have been showing up roughly in the same place. Very nice. Still undefeated in debut races that will not last forever. Let's go blasting through the rest of this. Now that we're done with the debut, we also unlock our agenda, so we can look forward at our race goals. Keep an eye on that. I would rather take speed over power. We have no spirit trainings today. Interesting. And then we have one on power, one on guts, one on wit. Wow, what atrocious trainings. It is a shame that we don't have good races to run today. Yeah, there's no races the day after the debut, so we're just going to have to take wit here as the best of a bunch of really bad options. But man, I would have loved to race there. And then we'll take another 5 energy. Let's keep energy up, wait for good trainings, make sure we have energy to jump on good trainings. 1 and 1, 1 and 0, 1 and 1, 2 and 0, functionally 0. So we don't have to build friendship with Daitaku anymore. She's already at orange. And guts, well, no, guts is the same. We wouldn't take guts here at all. We'd either take stamina, because it has a unity training on it, or we'd take speed to build friendship. I would be okay taking stamina here, just because I know that we want this to be a mild team trials runner, and we're going to need to build this stamina consistently. Vodka has good growths in speed and power. She's 10%, 20%, I think, for speed and power. We looked at it before we started. So I'm comfortable putting my faith in those growth rates and just letting those take care of things. Likewise, I will just continue taking actual attributes over hints. We've got a 2 and 1. We have a 0 and 1. This looks like a great speed, but let's make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, not really. This looks like a fine speed to take. Keep working on the friendship bonuses and support levels for our speed cards. Lose a ton of energy from an unfortunate random event, but it's okay because our wit training is good. Let's start slowly rebuilding that, see if we can get some mood up events as well. We've got a 2 and 1 on guts, a 1 and 0 on power. We have a 2 and 0 and a 2 and 0. This seems like an okay turn to either rest or recreate. And I would really like to train next turn, so I think I'm just going to take the full rest and hope that I find a mood effect somewhere else in my deck that takes me from good to great. We have a 2 and 2, a 2 and 1, and then we have our first spirit burst. So we've been chasing yellow bubbles, or white bubbles so far, and as the white bubbles fill up, they're filling up this gauge. After 4 trainings, the gauge is full, and then you can consume that gauge for a big one-time boost in stats. You can see that the speed training normally is 11 and 7. With the Spirit Burst, we're going to get an extra 17 and 7, and then this also significantly increases the stats of our team. So if we go to our name now, and we look at the roster, and we look at, who is it that we're about to burst? It is Daitaku. So if we go to our team, we go to our roster, we go and look at Daitaku. These are Daitaku's stats right now. 200, 200, 180, 200, 220. If we consume that burst, because I want to consume these as fast as possible to level my team up, let's take this training and then go see what her stats look like after this. There's my mood up that I was looking for. Perfect. I think this is also energy up. No, it must be the next one. So now if we come back here and we look at Daitaku, we're at 270, 300, almost 400, 280, 280. So she has gotten a massive bump to stats off of that. And later on, at the midpoint and end of every calendar year, so late December, we're going to have to do a series of team trials style races in order to earn extra rewards for the scenario. So the fact that we've given Daitaku this massive bump to stats makes her more likely to win whatever race she winds up on, which gives us better rewards over the course of the career. Prioritizing your spirit trainings and converting them into spirit bursts is the best way to approach this scenario, in my opinion. Here we have one training on Daitaku, but she's already used her spirit burst. So this will still slowly increase her stats, but you can't burst again once you've burst already. I'm slightly discouraged from training on her unless it's a really good training. And in this case, even though we are building King Halo and Pico Pegasus, I'd actually rather work on some other trainings just because I don't want to allocate more spirit trainings to somebody who's already used the burst. So we'll just take Wit here. We'll pass our turn. We'll spread a few more spirit trainings around, bump stats up on some other people. We have 1 and 1 on Wit. We have 2 and 2 on Power. That looks like a great Power training. Jump on that. Keep working on Manhattan Cafe and Kita-san. I would very happily just take 15 pure energy instead of energy plus power. Our power training is up to level 2, and that's primarily because when you come in here and look at Daitaku again, she's got a ton of power. There might be some other runners who have more, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be either her or Vodka herself contributing to the fact that our power leveled up. But we now have power 2, which means that power is a more effective training. And we're going to try and do that for all 5 of our training facilities over the course of this run. So we have 1 and 1. We have 1 and 1 but offset. We have a spirit training we don't need. We have an okay spirit training. None of these are great. I'm fine spinning my wheels on Wit, waiting for a better one to show up. And then this is our last train before the Hanshin JF. We've got a 2 and 2 on Wit. We have an offset 1 and 1 on Guts. We have a 2 and 2 on Power that's pretty good because it's going to put Cafe to her Spirit Burst threshold. We have a 1 and 1 on Stamina that we don't really want. Although this one puts Halo and Kita-san up to 2, and also it continues to work on my speed cards, which I would really like to start getting rainbows for relatively soon. We're not going to be chasing rainbows per se, but if we have people at rainbow threshold and they happen to be on a training where there's a good spirit train or a spirit burst, it is just extra stats. I don't think it's worth going out of your way to work on friendship early for Unity Cup, but if you can find opportunities to, it's a great idea. I know that my stamina is going to be a problem this run. We'll take plus 10 stamina. We'll hop into our next career goal. We have 3 hints for corner adept. That seems like a great pickup at this point. We also got late surge or corners. That seems like a great pickup at this point. These are good mid-race velocity skills. We're still not going to buy any of this stuff in the middle. We may get trickery later on. I'm not super pressured to buy it. Everything else is looking like towards the front. Well, Updrafters and Slick Surge are there, but we'll see if we can buy them later. Let's go jump into the Hanshin JF, which I think we have to watch because we've not won this race before. But we should be okay. Stamina's looking a little scary, and the assessment agrees with us. It's only giving us a triangle there instead of a circle. But our speed and power should be great. So as long as she can survive this race and not rush, I think we should be in pretty good shape. We'll find out. No late start is good, although if we're running late, it doesn't particularly matter. We spend most of our time in the mid-race catching up anyway to offset any kind of late start we get. It looks like we're at the front of the late surger pack, which is nice, but there's a lot of pace chasers ahead of us that we're going to have to cut through without getting blocked. We've been doing a decent job of training Wit. It's possible that she can figure her way through that pack, but the further back you run, the more likely you are to wind up in a situation like this where you have to navigate past other runners in the middle of the race in order to secure your position at the front. So let's see how well she does at that. I would love to see her start moving to the outside here relatively soon. She looks like she kind of has a window. As long as nobody shuffles around in front of her, I think she's in okay shape. She should be able to navigate this. Proceeding well. We're also in unique activation territory here because she's surrounded by people. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to be a nice little burst of speed at the end. I don't know if it's going to be enough. No, I think that's a second. It's a very close second, but it's a second. We'll take it, though. We didn't get our corner adept trigger either, which may have actually been the difference between second and first there, if our wit was just a little higher or our checks were a little better. I don't think we have to do this right now. This is late December. So we're about to get energy back from the end of the year anyway. Given that, I think I'm fine just taking plus 10 energy because getting slow metabolism is pretty nasty, even though it's a low chance on that event. So we'll just take the safe plus 10. Really happy to take a burst on stamina here because it's actually going to be building our stamina faster than it would with just our trainees. Let's make sure we're not skipping an insane spirit training somewhere else. No, none of these look, most of these look fairly normal. We'll just go ahead and take the burst because we're also about to do the first Unity Cup race. So this also preps Kita-san to be a much stronger runner in the Unity Cup race itself. And then here is your Unity Cup overlay. So you have a few things that you can do here. You have an opportunity to buy skills, just like you do before any other race. In this case, we bought already. And then you also have your team configuration. And this is functionally team trials, which is why we built out our team trials roster a little bit before we came to mess with Unity Cup. You have dirt, long, medium, mile, sprint. There is an autofill, and in general, I wouldn't really trust autofill in Uma to do anything right, but here in my experience, it's been pretty good. Let's say you wanted to min-max it though. Because you've been focusing on spirit bursts for your trainee specifically, their stats are actually likely to be lower than the stats of people around them. Like if I look at my Vodka, she's 2-1-2-1-2. Daitaku is a much stronger runner than Vodka is right now. All of her stats are higher. So in this case, what I'm looking at is I have a strong runner on mile, I have a strong runner on long, because both of them have burst, and then I have like an okay runner on mile, and two okay runners on mediums. So is my Vodka better than this El Condor Paso? 187, 211 versus 270, 250. The stamina is a little questionable, but even then my stamina is higher than L's, and it's definitely higher than Matikane's. So in this case, I'm going to make a single swap. And the swap is that I'm going to have my Vodka run mediums instead of miles, and I'm going to shift El Condor Pasa onto miles. I don't care about her stats being low, because I'm expecting Daitaku to win that race anyway. I'm also expecting to lose the medium race, but, you know, we might win, or we might even draw, and then it doesn't really count. And I'm also expecting to win the long because we have Kita-san there. And that's the only swap that I'm going to make, because we don't have a ton of trainees to work with yet. Like, Haru is the only dirt runner we have. Well, I guess we could shift Taiki over there, but I don't think it particularly matters. So we're going to run that team. We're going to roll into the first round of Unity Cup. You have an option between picking a difficult team, a middling team, or an easy team. And if you're trying to min-max your Unity Cup run, you should pick the top option every time, but you can afford to take the middle option once and still optimize the amount of stats that you're going to get for these Unity Cup challenges. If we look at the top option, We have a fighting chance at 4 of those races, and it's only medium that's sketchy, because that's where we put Vodka, and Vodka's not very good right now. If we look at the middle team, we're guaranteed to win basically every race except Dirt. In this case, I would gamble on the top team, and if we lose to RNG, we lose to RNG. That's fine, that's life. But I want to bank the option to maybe take that middle training later on. So in this case, we win Mile. It's a good thing we moved L over, but Daitaku is going to carry that anyway. We win Sprint, we draw on Dirt, we lose Medium. We also lose Long. Holy cow. Okay, so that's going to be a draw instead of a win for our first run. That's less than ideal, but it's not a run killer. In fact, losing any of the Unity Cup rounds is not a run killer. But it's definitely not the strongest start that we could have hoped for there. We'll take our 20 energy out of New Year's. And then we're right back into training with brand new leveled up facilities. So Power's 1 and 1. Guts is 2 and 1. I'm not thrilled about Guts, but our energy is doing pretty well right now. We could also take a speed here and just ignore Unity trainings completely, but I know that Daitaku has some pretty good hints for miles that I'd be very interested in getting. Like Slipstream would be great, Mile Corners would be great, Stamina to spare, she's not a pace chaser, so that's not going to do anything. Ramp up would be great. I wouldn't mind trying to grab those hints, even though she's already at max friendship, because we're going to build King Halo, and we're still going to get 1 spirit training out of it. We'll take Hesitant Frontrunners as just a random hint for doing spirit trainings. If there are mechanics that allow you to control the stats that you get from those, or the hints that you get from those rather, I don't know what they are. I've been treating them as completely random, but you do have a chance to get random hints every time you do a spirit training, which is kind of nice. We've got 1 on speed and then a bunch of friendships. We've got 1 on stamina, but it's one that we don't particularly care about because Daitaku's already maxed. We've got 1 on wit, but no actual trainees there. If we take speed, we can still afford to do 1 more training. I think it's fine to gamble on speed here and build Haru a bit. I would love to get an extra 5 energy just to give me the extra padding. We've got 3 on stam plus a unity. We've got 2 on wit plus a unity. It keeps building L's friendship. I think I'm okay with taking this just to roll energy into a next turn. The stamina training doesn't look great. It's fine, but it's not amazing. I would happily take wit and skill points. Shifting gears requires you to be in the front mid race. That's very unlikely for us to happen as a late surger. I'll just take the pure stats. And then, because we've been maxing friendships, we get the opportunity of taking rainbows if there's a good spirit training there as well, which is just more decisions to factor in when you're trying to navigate a Unity Cup run. We have 1 good spirit training that we want. We have 1 spirit training that we don't really care about because Kita-san is maxed, but it does increase her stats. We have a good hint on Biko that builds friendship. We push L into gold territory and we get a rainbow. This looks like an outstanding training. And I'm very happy that we've banked our energy for the last 2 turns so that we can actually jump on it safely. Productive Plan, I believe, is a mile skill that requires us to be at the front, so we're probably not using that either. Yep, okay, we're not using that. We don't really have anything to grab here. Small Breather's kind of nice to have. I don't love late race stamina recoveries. We can get into why later. It's a little advanced in terms of mechanics, but there's some reasons you might not want to take those. But let's just go run the Tulip Show. Again, haven't won it yet, so can't skip it. Stamina is looking much better now that we burst on it and trained it a few times, and we had a nice juicy power training. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with where our stats are for these races. There's still going to be a little bit of RNG if we get blocked, but we have good skills, we have good stats, we should be in the running to win pretty much any of these if luck goes our way. I would like to see a little bit of navigation here to get in front of these other late surgers. This isn't something that pace down or position keep is going to influence, because we're fighting for position with other late surgers right now. So we're not going to have velocity enforced unless all of us collectively as a pack get closer to the front runners. And at any rate, pace down and position keep is over now that we're in the late stage of the race. All we're looking for now is a clear path to cutting to the front. It looks like she should be able to find one. There's not a lot of traffic in front of her. But we're really not pulling away as quickly as I would like either. Yeah, she's got a clear window. All she has to do is be fast at this point. We should get a unique trigger here too. We're surrounded by people at the end of this race. Is she going to be faster than Daiwa? Does not look like it. That's a really close second again, but it's going to be another second. Also by a half a length this time. So every single one of these races that we've come in second, we've been real close to getting there. We're not losing to stats necessarily, although stats would be nicer. We're not losing to skills necessarily, although if we had one more skill it would help. We're just getting outpaced by RNG at this point. You can't control everything. All of these trainings are very risky, although I really wish that I was a brave enough person to jump on this stamina training. It does a lot for us. It puts L at Spirit Burst, it gives us stats, and then it also improves King Halo's support. This is an underwhelming power. This is an underwhelming guts, although there are cases where you would take that. And then there's nothing at wit. This is a rest unless you're a braver person than I am, in which case you take stamina. There's also an unfortunate 30 energy back out of that event as well. Poor stat gains, but that's the way our inheritances are right now. We don't really have good options. We could now afford to take stuff like updrafters. We could afford to take like a second rank of late surge or corners. I think I might grab updrafters just because having late race acceleration is kind of nice. I think I'm unlikely to get hints for it. I don't think any of my support cards have it, so we'd basically be waiting to get hints for it off of random spirit trainings. And given that we've lost our last two races by half a length, it's possible that a skill could help make up that difference. We have definitely not won the Oka show yet, so we're going to watch this again. But given that we did not train on the last turn, I'm not feeling super confident. Because this is our first G1, and we've failed to win our previous two... Well, no, the JF was also a G1. Coming second in a G2 does not fill me with confidence, let's say. We'll see. Maybe I'm unfairly doubting her. It's doing an okay job catching up to the pack. Doing a really good job catching up to the pack, actually. Making up the difference from the late start. If I could get her to... A corner adept will be good for gobbling up another few runners here. She's gotten herself into an okay position, but I'm really concerned about how many people are in front of her right now. Does she have a look? She does have a look. She's got an open lane in front of her. It's really not making the kind of progress that I'd like her to make. That seems like a power issue, if anything else, that she's not just sprinting off the line as soon as late race hits. I was hoping that some skills would help that, but it doesn't seem like they have. That's going to be a second again by like a length. We are finally coming down to earth after our great luck in the previous two runs. 3/4 of a length. Second place, Oka shown. We'll get this figured out. We're gonna win a race eventually. Burst on wit, we'll get back to that in a second. One training on speed that puts Haru into Spirit Burst territory. One Spirit training on guts, and then we have a Spirit Burst on wit. So here's the thing about Spirit Bursts on wit. When you have a rainbow training on wit, it gives you a little bit of energy back. When you have a Spirit Burst on any of your core 4 attributes, it costs you extra energy. When you Spirit Burst on Wit, it gives you extra energy back. This whole white portion of the bar is extra energy that we're getting because it's a burst here. So even though we don't really care about bursting on Wit, I would rather burst on Stamina, for example, to help shore stamina up. I really like getting energy back, and then we also roll a Spirit Training into L, which is going to let her burst later on, and it builds King Halo's friendship for moving into Summer Break. So I think this is a fine training, even though bursting on Wit isn't really something I'm ever looking actively to do. That moves our team power up to D. We have one more turn of training before the Derby. We have a burst. Oh my god. It's a great Guts training. But I really don't want to burst on Guts. I should also mention, because I don't think it's come up yet, you don't have to spend a Spirit Burst on the turn that it appears. It's not like Rainbow Training. The Spirit Burst that Elle has right now is actually saved, and later on she will show up on different trainings with it. But here's what I'm looking at. We have our next Unity Cup round at the end of late June. We would really like to build our stats before then. We would really like to level up our facilities before then. Manhattan Cafe is one Spirit training away from getting her own Spirit Burst, and then we're also working on Biko and Shinko Windy. Even though bursting on Guts is not ideal, it's not a great way to spend energy, and it's not really the place where you want your stats, I think there's advantages to bursting on Guts here for the sake of getting better trainings later. So I am just going to use it here. So we'll take the burst on L. Take a look at skills. I don't think we can afford anything. We can afford Hawkeye. That only works on mediums. I don't really care about that. And then we're into the Derby with a concerningly low amount of stamina. I would really like to be closer to maybe 250 for the Derby. This is a 2,400 meter medium race. But we've got what we've got at this point. We are still the #1 favorite, but we've got a pretty concerning triangle there in terms of our stamina to finish this race. I would love to win. Realistically, I'm expecting another second. If she rushes, I think we have major problems, though. She's doing fine staying ahead of most of the late surgers here. She's doing fine staying ahead of all of the late surgers here. So she's cleared as much traffic as she's mechanically allowed to at this point in the race. She still has to fight through what looks like a half dozen pace chasers. But we haven't gotten blocked so far, so maybe she's got navigation figured out. As long as she stays near the front here, I think we're okay. If you can get past one more person, I think that's great. That's just one more person who can't block you later. And then we're coming up on the late race transition. Pace down is done, so she can go as fast as she wants now, and she does look very fast. We definitely have enough speed. The question is whether we have enough power and stamina to actually finish the race. And also whether we get blocked. She looks like she has a clear lane. She needs to get around Rice Shower. She's thinking about getting around. She's finally getting around Rice Shower. She's in this. She's got a chance here. We're too far ahead to get our ult to trigger, but I think she's actually got this. Okay, sure. Yeah, if you have to win one race, make sure it's the race that counts. Derby victory completed. Feels good to win a race. That's not our debut. Because I feel like we haven't been doing that badly so far. Beautiful stuff. And now we have 2 turns until we go into summer break. So we can train once, and we need to patch energy up. This is going to be our 1 train. It's not good. How about this is our rest instead, because all of these look very bad. Sure. I would love to take 10 stand. And then as long as this isn't a brutal training energy-wise, I think we're fine. Like, this stamina looks okay. It progresses Matikane, it progresses Agnes Digital, it builds Bika's friendship a little bit, it builds Etsuka's friendship a little bit, but most importantly, it doesn't actually cost us a ton of energy, because we're about to head into summer break. So let's roll with that. And then because this is mid-year, we now have Unity Cup Round 2. So because we lost, well, not lost, because we tied in the first round, we actually have a horrible team rank, which means every single team we go up against in this round is going to be very easy. And most of the teams we go up against, like until the end of the game, are going to be very easy. I'm going to pick up Watchful Eye for just a little extra stamina. I feel like our stamina is shaky right now, and having a recovery would be nice. There's not really anything else in here that I'm actively looking to grab. We also know that later this Vodka is going to be a Team Trials runner, and that's a mile skill, so we're fine with that. We have a completely fresh, fleshed out roster now, and we have runners who are D rank or better on each of our 5 races. So at this point, I don't really feel the need to fiddle around with anything too much. We've got a D on sprint, D on medium, D on long, D on dirt. Those are all going to be fine. There's nobody down here in E and F that we can shuffle around for a meaningful difference. Vodka's still going to be a pretty weak racer in our mile slot, but Daitaku should be okay to handle things, and even if we lose the mile, we can still win 4 other races. So we take top option here for sure. Double circles on everything, because our matchmaking is going to be a little weird. I think that first draw was actually a bit of a fluke. That's all 5 wins. The next few Unity Cup rounds are not going to be particularly difficult because we drew on the first one. So we get a huge stat bump. Everybody who participated gets extra stats. We get more runners, and then we're into summer break. Summer break is very much the same as it is in Unity Cup, or in URA Finale. The point of us doing, that's a crazy power training. The point of us doing all of this spirit training stuff is to level our facilities. But in summer break, all of our facilities are 5. So we actually want to ignore spirit trainings as much as we can for summer break and just focus on core stats. In this case, even if there were no spirit trainings here and there were 5 spirit trainings on wit, we would still take power, because this is just building stats. Now, it just so happens we had crazy spirit trainings on those as well. We have Haru ready for Spirit Burst. We have 2 others that we made progress on. We have 2 spirit trainings here with a decent rainbow. I think it's going to be hard to be better than that. I don't see anything else that's even close to that good. So go ahead and take this. This turn needs to be a rest because we're in an energy hole. Just too bad because that's a good training. That's a pretty good training. But this is 100% a rest just because I don't want to risk any of those. And then our last training is hopefully good because we have the energy for it. We'll take power. It's okay, but it's not great. It's not great. It's not great. It's also not really great. It's still a level 5 wit. And it still consumes a spirit burst, and it regains us a bunch of energy going into the rest of the year. This is not a great power training. It's just Daitaku. Like, these aren't real support cards. They're not giving us anything. I think this is just a cafe, the wit burst. We'll preserve our energy. Outer Swell is a nice skill to pick up. And then we'll hopefully get some better rainbows here for the rest of the year. Single rainbow on speed, no spirit training. Single rainbow on stamina, 1 spirit training and friendship. And then we've got 1 and 0, 2, 2. It's an okay wit. but I think it's a better stamina. I really want to get Biko up to gold so we can start firing off triple rainbows in senior year. And our stamina is still a problem, so let's just fire one off on a stamina training. At this point, I think I'm also looking to save up Spirit Bursts. We're not a sprinter, so we take 30 energy. At this point, I think I'm also looking to save Spirit Bursts specifically for stamina, just so that I can shore it up. This is a great stamina training. It's an okay power. It's an okay wit. Even though 3 of these were already maxed, it's going to continue building their stats, which is going to continue pushing our team rank up. And it's also just a lot of stats to have on stamina. So I think I'm fine taking that. That's going to push us over 300. So we're roughly halfway to what our benchmark is for running mild TTs. We're in good shape there. Okay wit, bad guts, bad power, bad stam, pretty bad speed. I think I'm just going to spin my wheels on wit here. It doesn't really do anything for us, but all those trainings are below what I would expect our deck to be able to do. But happily take another +5 energy. We have one more training before we have to run the Shukusho. No, it's this turn. Alright, never mind. We could gamble on 10 energy, 15 stam, 15 guts. We could take a guaranteed +5 energy in a mood. We could lose 10 energy, get 5 stam, 5 guts. I think I'm fine taking this risk. If it pays off, it's nice. If it doesn't pay off, we can still afford to train safely next turn and maybe 2 turns. So I'm fine gambling on that. And we'll just pass the gamble. It's that easy. We cannot afford any skills except sympathy, which is not good. Let's go hop in the Shukusho. We have not won the Shukusho. These runs are going to go faster when we can skip races. I guarantee it. I'm looking at OBS now, and it tells me this has been an hour already, which is crazy because we're not at senior year yet, but the races just take a lot of time. And I know I could skip them from here, but like if you're already watching them come out the gate, you might as well just watch the whole thing and take the opportunity to learn something about your trainee. I don't mean like story-wise, I mean like mechanics-wise. Like what do I need to be working on? Because sometimes you'll run a race and skip it and you'll come in like 4th, like we did that with that Bakushin run yesterday. And you're just like, what in the world happened here? Corner right up and late surge your corners. Nice. Good velocity bump. You're getting a little too far ahead there. Please don't run into like pace down. We should be out of risk of pace down now. If I could just get past Daiwa and this other NPC runner, I'd be very comfortable with how we're looking in this race. I actually think we're going to be fine no matter what. There's nobody on the outside right now. She can just go zooming straight around the outside of everybody. Anytime you want to kick your acceleration in. Anytime. There you go. Now we're moving. We've got a clean lane. We're way on the outside. We can just go around the outside of everybody else. Get a nice unique trigger. That should be enough to get in front. It's going to be real close between Ryan and me. Nah, never mind. We're chilling. Worth noting, in this career, we were half a length away from a triple crown. Because that Satsuki show race was pretty dang close. No, wait, Vodka doesn't run triple crown because she wants to do the derby. Never mind. We were one half of a length and also like one entire race away from the triple tiara. It's vastly different. Oh well, either way, nevertheless. So we've got 3 turns. We've got the Arima, which is a bit of a scripted loss, and then we've got senior year. We have a burst on guts. I'm saving this. This needs to go on stamina. I'm just going to hold it until it appears on stamina. That's a crazy speed training. We're building spirit training with 3 people. We're bumping Kita's stats up, and we're working on Biko's friendship. That's going to be way better than stamina, and even though this power training's pretty good, it's not that good. I would happily take that. Not great, not great, not great. This pushes Biko to gold. I'm pretty happy to take that at this point, and also just preserve our energy a bit. So we can afford one big training on December, and then we'll get our energy recovery out of the new year. And in fact, since we're going to get energy recovery out of the new year, I don't think I actually have to take energy from this event. I think I can take speed and maybe get a skill hint as well. Because we know we have guaranteed energy recovery coming. So show me a big training here. Power's not where I wanted that burst. Those are deceptively bad spirit trainings because they're on 2 people who burst already. Power does build stamina. It does. And this is really nice because it pushes Agnes and Smart Falcon closer to their own spirit bursts. I'm not happy about it. It also spends our energy pretty effectively so that we don't overflow with the raffle and New Year's. I think that's a fine power. I would have rather that training been on stamina specifically, but I think it's fine to take it on power. It's also a little late to grab Hot Topic. We've already kind of worked on everybody's friendship, so I'm just going to take 10 power off that. We're over halfway through this run at this point. The longer it goes on, the less valuable stuff like Charming and Hot Topic become. Good Mile skills, good Mile skills. Outer Swell, I'll take Outer Swell at this point. It's a late Surger skill, sure. Also, we still haven't seen, we haven't seen Updraft. Oh, that's because we've been running mediums. That's why you're not going to see Updrafter's trigger. It's Mile only. Makes a lot of sense when you put it that way. So, Vodka... never mind, I'll show us here. Vodka has an E aptitude in long races. Vodka is not meant to win the Arima Keenan. And if we were, like, reading the story, there's story reasons for why she's entering it in the first place, but this is going to be a guaranteed loss. The only way we're winning the Arima Keenan on Vodka is if we give her a mountain of long sparks to get her to like a B aptitude or better. So it doesn't matter that corner adapt is triggering here. We're still actually in... we should be in position keep and pace down. But she decided to be very, very quick out the gate. And then she's just going to plummet to the back. Your distance aptitude, which here for Vodka is like E in long, is what controls your top speed. So in the middle of a race, it's kind of looking like she's in it because there's an artificial speed cap. But as soon as she hits the late race threshold, she is going to drop like a stone because she has no max velocity when everybody else around her does. And we'll see that manifest here very shortly. Right now, you could be deceived into thinking we have a chance to like maybe win this race. Mechanically, it will not happen. So this is over halfway through late race. Pace down now goes away. Position keep goes away, but there's still an artificial cap on how fast you can go on your top speed. And then right around here is where everybody should start accelerating, and she's just going to get left in the dust because her top speed is going to be so much lower than everybody else around her. Yeah, so this isn't an acceleration problem. Her acceleration's actually fine. It's just that she accelerated and then hit her top speed immediately. And everybody else around her is just going to go significantly faster than she does. 15th, I think, is actually not dead last, which is kind of surprising. Yeah, she managed to be one NPC runner. Impressive. She managed to beat this. Which is... you know. But that is not one that you are meant to win in a normal career. And then because it's end of year, we're into a Unity Cup round. We'll look at the team quick, it should be fine. Burn and Smart Falcon are all the way up to C. And then we've got a bunch of D runners. We've done everything we can to prepare here. We're guaranteed, in heavy air quotes, to win 3 of these, but we saw how that worked last time. The point is that because we drew the first one, we have to pick top option every single time now. in order to maximize the stats that we can still salvage out of this. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. Okay. So we're guaranteed to win the whole round even if we lose the last one. It's just about who has the most wins. Improving all of our team ranks. That's going to improve our facilities further. We will take 30 energy out of this. I would really like to burst on stam and not speed. Thank God it's a horrible speed training. I don't have to think about it. All of these look fairly underwhelming. Like, this Guts is fine, but we're only building Rudolph. This Power is fine, but we're only building Nishino Flower. Like, all these trains are pretty bad, so we'll just take a Wit. It might mean that with our raffle result, we're going to overflow energy a little bit, but this is also why we gambled not getting energy on that Kitasan event earlier. It's because we knew that this was going to be coming. We're up to team rank B, and now that we're at B, and now that we're in senior year, we start to pivot. So if you look at our facility levels, they're all at 3 right now. And it's not going to take a lot of work to get them up to 4. That's a neat power training. As soon as we start getting our facilities to 4, that's the point where we start to ignore spirit trainings and we start to actually prioritize rainbows for pure stats. Where you actually hit that pivot point is going to depend on how good your RNG is in a given Unity Cup run. For us, it's probably going to be in like 3 or 4 turns if I had to guess. But past that point, we're going to be prioritizing rainbows because we have our facilities to the level that we want them at. We've got okay spirits there. We've got a really nice double rainbow speed that's also going to eat Haru's spirit burst. That's really annoying. Because I think I take that training no matter what. We can always get a few more spirit bursts later from the people who were still trying to top up. Like, Digital's close. Shinko Windy actually has one ready. It just didn't fire here. We can get a couple more to fix our stam up, but I don't think I can not take that speed training when there's also a burst there. I would love to get 5 energy back because that speed training was fairly costly. I don't want to use that. I don't know how many times I have to tell you. We have a pretty bad wit, a pretty bad power, a stamina that gets Agnes to Spirit Burst. Even though it's going to put us in an energy hole, I would like to just turn that on. Because the earlier I activate it, the earlier it can start appearing. It's a burst on wit that's also not... Oh my god. We can't take it. It's 32%. We can't take that. It's too risky. The question is whether we take this wit and we just consume the burst, or whether we rest. We don't have to worry about the Unity Cup match until late June, and I really want these to show up on Stam. We're only at 400. We need to find a way to get to like 600 to 650 before the end of this run. We're just going to take a rest here. We're going to rebuild our energy really efficiently, and then we're just going to wait for bursts to show up on stamina or power. Here we have them on Guts and Wit. I obviously don't need to tell you how I feel about that. So I'm just going to take a double rainbow on speed, because it's stats, and speed level 3 is fine. We're kind of at our transition point already. So let's just take good attributes since we have all of our facilities leveled up decently well. We'll take an inspiration. Shouldn't be getting much here because our parents are fairly bad. I didn't even think to check my fan threshold. Okay, we made it. We should probably keep a closer eye on that. We have a rainbow stam, a rainbow speed, a pretty interesting power. It's possible that Bamboo Memory and Rice Shower could get to burst before the end of this run. I don't really want to burst on wit. I want to eat this on stamina specifically, so I'm going to take this power because our energy is actually looking pretty healthy. Power up to 4 is great. Rainbow on stam. double rainbow on speed. Okay on whip. What are our next couple turns looking like? Well, I think we take double speed here to go to 600. We run the mile. We probably rest late May. We refill to mostly full energy. We run the Yasudikinen, and then we probably take like a whip late June. Or we hope that we see the Stamper specifically on late June, in which case we would take it. Let's see if we can actually manifest that reality. This is just going to be a race. 1600 in the rain. It's a mile. We might actually trigger our mile skills. Despite the fact that it's rainy, we should still have more than enough stam. We're #1 favorite with all circles, so all of our attributes are good enough to be able to win this race. It's a question of whether the RNG also cooperates. Pretty early for Watchful Eye to trigger, but it doesn't give us a ton of stamina back, so it's probably fine. I don't think we wasted any stamina by having it trigger that early. I actually think that's guaranteed. Like, it's guaranteed to trigger early race now that I think about it, so maybe it doesn't even matter. Really like her to close up some distance. There we go. Yeah. And then we should be exiting position keep here fairly soon. We should be exiting pace down fairly soon. It's real crowded in front right now. I would love if... Okay, she's way on the outside. That's perfect. It's exactly where we want her to be. Acceleration should take over here pretty soon. Yeah, there we go. There's a lot of people who are just as fast as you are who are still ahead of you, though. You're going to have to pick up the pace a little more here. That's going to help. Fuji's still a long ways in front, though. You gotta get moving here. Alright, she got moving. That's real close. Is it our turn to win by half a length instead of lose by half a length? It's our turn to win by a neck. Taste it. Taste my victory. Alright, so we've got 2 more races to run until we're done with our goal. This is going to be a rest. No, it's going to be an energy gamble. That's huge. That changes everything, because now we can train this turn and rest next turn. So we take a double rainbow power, which also builds stamina. This speed training is, like, slightly better in terms of spirit training, but we're not really spirit training anymore. We've got power up to 4. That's a nice high level. So let's just take our double rainbow, run the Yasudikinen, rest late June, do our Unity Cup round, and then we've got 4 turns full energy in summer break. I think we have unintentionally lined this up perfectly. Grab a hint for Slick Surge just to keep working on our acceleration in late race. This is another 1600 meter mile race. We're totally fine on stamina. It doesn't... Oh, I could have skipped. It doesn't matter if we rush. It doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if we get debuffed. We have enough stamina to finish this race. Doesn't matter if we get late start. That's fine. We are pretty far back with respect to the other late surgers. That was a pretty nasty late start, but we can make some progress here. Or not, man. Or we could just fall even further behind. Holy cow. Okay, there's the forward progress we're looking for. Can we get a couple, like, corner triggers? No? We're just not going to activate anything this race, huh? At least there's nobody in front of us. We've got an unblocked lane to the finish. Wow, we're really activating no skills. What? There's Updrafters, finally. That's a lot of acceleration, but we have so much ground to cover. We should get a unique trigger out of this. There it is. We're sufficiently crowded to get some extra velocity out of it. Oh, you got a ways to go, though, still. Never mind, we're good. Camera angle's playing tricks on us. It's a very reassuring sign that we can trigger 2 skills and still win a race. I think that means we're in great shape and our attributes have really caught up. Nimble Navigator hint is lovely. We'll be buying that as well as soon as we can afford it. That's just even more acceleration in late race. My burst on stamina's here. Oh, at the exact wrong time. It's fine. We can bank it. We can bank that burst. It sucks that we can't spend it going into our Unity Cup round because we wouldn't mind the extra stats on everybody. But I'm content to throw a round of the Unity Cup to preserve our ability to effectively train in summer break. We'll see if that actually manifests. This looks fine. We're great favorites to win everything but the medium, which I presume is where I am. No, who's my medium runner issue? I guess it's L that's not really pulling her weight. Hey, there's nothing I can do about it now. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, we're guaranteed. It's a good thing too, because we lost the last 2. This Unity Cup team has been a lot shakier than I expected. I thought we were going to breeze through everything after that first draw, but it really feels like it's starting to catch up. It's a bad speed training. It's a pretty bad stamina training. It's a bad power training. It's a bad guts training. It's a nothing burger wit. It feels like the safe play is honestly to take speed, but I'm going to take wit instead because I know that that's a low roll for our deck. I know that we can be higher than that. It's a good wit training. It's a really good stamina training. I think we might take that stamina training just for stats. We don't really care about spirit training anymore. We're running out of time to effectively build spirit trainings and then use the bursts. Like, after you're done with summer year 3, you probably don't even really want to think about spirit training at all anymore, because you're just not going to build these gauges fast enough to be able to deploy the actual burst itself. We're going to take this power, obviously. We're getting in range of our stamina target. That's really going to help us. We gamble on that all the time. We pass. So we're bang on for stamina right now, because we're going to get around 70 stats at the end of the career. So it's going to push our stamina from like 615, wherever it is now, 514. It's going to push it to around 600. And then we've got our 1 mile recovery in Watchful Eye. And we could pick up a second one if we wanted to, and a small breather. So stamina, A-okay. We actually don't need to burst on stamina anymore, and we can take our spare Unity bursts, and we can stick them over on speed instead. Not this turn, because we have to rest this turn. But speed is now our biggest priority, because it's actually starting to lag behind a bit. All we want to do for the rest of this run is try and train speed preferably. All of these are really bad. We'll just take the wit. It technically trains speed, just not at an appreciable rate. We'll take the speed. It turns Matikane on, and we can maybe get that burst off. So this is going to be Tenno show. We need to rest once. We can train. We're probably going to rest twice and train twice for the last 4 turns of the round. Or 4 turns of the career. We're going to rest, train, and then we're going to hit late December, and we're going to rest, and we're going to the final 3 URA finale turns with full energy. I think is how our last 4 are going to be looking here. We'll see if anything changes that plan. If we get the slow metabolism event again, that obviously is going to change our calculus. If there's any other energy up events that I'm forgetting, that's obviously going to change our calculus. But right now, I think that's the roadmap for the last 4 turns in this run. Early late corners is fine. Just try not to get too... You're going to run into pace down here if you're too fast. Can you just chill out a little bit? Vodka, you're too fast. Can you chill out? Yeah, there's the pace down. She realized that actually she's supposed to be a late surger and she needs to slow down. But right about now, pace down can't happen anymore. So this is all going to be true pace. She's well on the outside. It should not be possible to get blocked from all the way out there. And then we're just going to wait for acceleration to take over. That's a pretty scary velocity boost right before late race. So this is acceleration. Let's see if she still outspeeds everybody else. She's looking okay. She's looking good, but nah, she's looking fine. Never mind. She's actually way faster than I thought. Anybody else behind her coming faster? It doesn't look like it. I think we're good. Special Week's a little scary, but I think we're good. All right. That's 10-0 show done. All career goals done. We are now on to finals. And our speed is looking a little scary for finals. I have less faith in this run to actually win the finals than I do for the previous 2 runs that we did. Primarily because speed isn't even over 700 yet, and the run is almost over. That is not a great sign in my book. So we're really looking for some good bursts here. I want to save both of these for speed. I think I would be fine training on speed here and then resting. I think this is probably above average for our deck. No, I want to do this the other way. I want to rest, train, train, rest. Because if I train this, then I go train, rest, train, and then train, and I go into the finals on half energy. I am going to decline that rainbow, and I'm going to take the rest now, because I want to go train, train, November, late December, early. That's unfortunate. I don't think there's any way we're getting Curran to a burst. I definitely don't want to burst on Wit, and I don't want to burst on Guts. I guess I would just keep pushing my power higher, because I know my stamina is going to be fine by the end of the run. And power still does push stamina up a little faster. Please, any burst on speed, I'm begging you. I'm on my knees begging for bursts on speed. I have 2 available right now. If this is a good burst on speed, I would take it, even though it's going to screw up my URA finale turns. It's okay, it's not... So, it's not a burst on speed, but it is still a really good speed training. That's also kind of screwed up. You know the heuristic that... well, God, think about this. You should think about this. There are 3 turns left in the game after this one. We aren't actually guaranteed to even see these spirit bursts. It's entirely possible that they could just not show up in the last 3 turns at all, which means we would be depriving ourselves of stats that are functionally free. Do I want to spend 2 bursts on Wit? No, not really, but I do want to spend these bursts. I also kind of want to spend them before the last round of the Unity Cup. So I think I take this Wit training. This can't look right from the outside. If you're watching this video and you're like, why would you not take the speed, you absolute idiot? A, it's going to screw my energy up for the last 3 turns, and we might get a triple rainbow in the last 3 turns. You never know. B, I don't actually think I'm guaranteed to get to use these things up. And I would rather eat them on Wit now and get like 20 energy back and ease my chances of the last round of the Unity Cup than gamble on them like maybe showing up on speed. Because if we get to the final 3 turns and we never burst on speed and speed is never higher than 1 rainbow, that's catastrophic. That's so incredibly bad for us. So I think I'm going to take the guaranteed training that's in front of me, but man, that's a really interesting decision point. I have no idea if that's the right choice or not. It is entirely possible that I am wrong, and I mean this sincerely, not from Content Brain. You should let me know in the comments if you think that was the right choice or not, because I actually don't know. That's a really, really interesting decision. I think that's the most interesting decision that we've had to make playing so far. So I saw we got Mile Corners. I want to grab that. Mile Corners, just nice and consistent. I also saw that we got Nimble Navigator. I want to grab that. If I can afford... Where is it? If I can afford Trick Rear by the end of the run, I might grab it. We might get some other hints. We'll see. I think Trick Rear would be fine. I don't think it's ever going to actually eat somebody's stamina to the point that they lose a race, but it's a skill activation, and that matters. I have to watch the last Unity Cup race? Okay, interesting. Oh, let's see how we do. I am not expecting Vodka to win this specifically. In fact, she's only the number 5 favorite. But Daitaku and Nishino Flower are looking great to win. And also, even if we lose this race, we can still have the rest of the team pull through on the other 4 races. So let's find out how this goes. That wit decision, that wit training is really interesting to me. If you're watching this video and you're like, I can't believe he's still thinking about that wit training, it's literally just one turn. I have, like, really bad news for you about the way that all the rest of these videos are gonna go. On the other hand, if you're like, wow, I've never heard somebody deliberate that long on one stupid training, this is great, I can't wait to get more, buddy, settle in, grab yourself a drink. As much as I wish I could make these videos shorter, sometimes you just gotta think through, oh my god, all the velocity, oh, she's so fast. Sometimes you just gotta think through those decisions. Like, yes, it's a gacha game. Yes, it's RNG. Yes, if you swipe your credit card, you can guarantee yourself better outcomes. But at the same time, there is no replacement for sitting down and doing the work and figuring out if you're actually making a good decision or not. Those are angles and margins of victory. This was an easy race, by the way. We're not even concerned. Number 1 favorite means nothing. Daitaku Helios is washed. Those are the decision points, run to run, that are actually going to make meaningful differences in your outcomes. Yes, better luck is always going to be nicer. Yes, better support cards are always going to be nicer. But if you can't make the... Oh my god, we lost. That's fine. If you can't make those moment-to-moment decisions, you're going to have a problem playing Uma effectively. So this has been a fine... It's been a disastrous Unity Cup run because we didn't win the Unity Cup, but it's been like a fine stats run. I don't want to burst on wit again, man. I don't want to do it. But if we burst on wit, we can train on speed twice, and none of these trainings are good enough to take. Like, if we take this, we can't train twice. We'd have to train wit once, and then we can train once something else. This is bad. This is bad. We have to take this wit burst. We've just had really unlucky bursts in, like, the last 4 turns here. Really, at least we're using them up, but... they're unfortunate. I didn't want to burst on wit this much, man. I didn't want to be this smart. Qualies, no problem. Oh my god, it exists. It actually... it's here. Science said it could never be done. They said you could never burst speed. And we can still take our final training. You know what? Maybe it turned out okay. First. Show me a triple speed. Is it too much to ask for? A double speed? You know what? It's close enough. Close enough to what I asked for. Team rank S on the final turn. Do I care about any of these? You know what? I think I want that second recovery. Our stamina hasn't picked up as much as I wanted it to. Wait, that wasn't it. No, wait, it was it? B still is going to be better. I want my stamina to fire earlier than later. And then the rest of this we'll take care of at the end of the run. We could technically view results on this, but I like the idea of watching the finale, because it's where everything in the run comes together. We get to see ourselves manifest the destiny that we built. Except in this case, we're building Vodka for Miles, and it's a medium finale, so none of her skills are going to trigger, but that's why we have alarm clocks. Oh, never mind, it's a mile! Dude, this race is over. There's no hope for any of you. We're built for this. If you're wondering, by the way, you can actually control the type of finals you get. It's based on the most common distance of race that you ran in your career as we sprint towards a pace down here, almost certainly. No, maybe not. Maybe we're fine. So we ran more mile races than anything else, which means that we're in a mile finals. We could put ourselves in a medium finals if we ran a couple more medium races outside of our normal career schedule. But we didn't really have any reason to do that. Here's our Nimble Navigator acceleration kicking in. That should be enough to catapult us to the front. I don't think we even need the unique trigger. There you go. Finals victory with Vodka. Let's go take a look at Sparks, and let's go buy our last skills and see where our exact stat line wound up. Finale champion. We basically never talked Etsuko. We only get +8 instead of +10 there because we actually lost the UC finals. And then we get our +5 for our training. So we're at 837, 579, 839. And in a minute, I'm going to compare that stat line with the other stuff that we've had so far. It'd be nice to afford It's On, but alas. What else is cheap? Productive Plan, we're never in the front. Mediums we don't do. We can afford to buy Trick Rear now. It's just a cheap skill. We could also go to Mile Corners rank 2, and then we could go to Late... No, Late Surge is way more expensive. Never mind. We might be able to afford Fighter and Mile Corners. 76? No, not quite. What if we just bought a green skill? Like, Firm Condition should be fairly consistent. Most tracks are firm. That leaves us with 13. Seems fine to me. We'll complete career. We'll see how the sparks look. B plus 9,300. Fairly bad sparks. Hey, these are good sparks for like a late surge or mile runner, but right now that's only vodka. Guts we don't care about. 3-star late surger is nice, but the pink attribute sparks are not very good. They don't have a ton of utility. I think Spirit Burst. Levels up vodka, gives us a bit of currency. Oh, there's an event running. You know what? We'll run through events next time because I gotta wind this one up. We're already at a minute 40. But I will edit team trials real quick. We will replace this old busted vodka with this new fancy vodka. Lock that in. We go from 22 to 31. That upgrades our team rank. We get a bit of extra carats out of that. And then before we wrap up shop for the day, let's also take care of our dailies. So we need to run our daily races. We now have a custom built mile racer. So let's go ahead and see how Vodka does with that. First, third, first, third, We might want to stick with Taiki for this. We have anything interesting in the shop? Not really. Let's also do one team trials round. We'll take the hardest opponent possible for the difficulty boost. I don't know, quick mode. Let's see how we do. It's not expected because we haven't built a new Daiwa Scarlet. Not expected because we haven't built a new gold ship. Very nice. Vodka paying off. Very nice. Auction paying off. I don't think there's any universe where somebody in like D rank beats an A Taiki shuttle. Or a race in C plus and G. 91,000 points, gives us a high score. Let's see how that puts us for retention line. We're above promotion line. We may need to work on that a little more later in the week because it is only Monday. That 68,700 is probably going to come up, but we'll stick with one career run a day. No, not you. We'll stick with one career run a day. We'll keep filling out the empty slots on this team, and that'll be that. Go claim all of our rewards, claim our daily stuff, and then I will catch you guys in the next one. If you are enjoying the Uma playthroughs, do let me know by subscribing to the channel, liking the video. If you have any questions, there's stuff that you want me to tutorialize, there's stuff that you want to chat about, things that weren't clear in the video, leave me a note in the comments. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys around in the next one. Till then, take care. Have a good rest of your day.